Yeah, so a little bit different this week playing on a Sunday. I think Steven told me first time since 2017-18 season, so it's pretty cool with the week between NFC, AFC championships and the Super Bowl. They wanted a primetime sports event on Sunday afternoon for ABC, so it's kind of cool. They picked our Florida game, so a little bit different preparation, playing Tuesday, then not playing until Sunday. So gave some guys a little bit more time to get rested, healed. Mari's yet to practice, but he's been going through some basketball workouts and looking a lot better. He's chomping at the bit, wanting to play. He's a competitor. If he's close to being able to play, I think he's going to play, but that'll probably end up being a game time decision on him like it's been here recently. Nobody else has had any setbacks in practice, so should be good. Everybody that played last game against Missouri, and hopefully, in addition to Amari, be able to play on Sunday. But this is it's a tight race in the SEC. Florida's obviously defending national champions, very good team, competing at the top. We're somewhere stuck in the middle right now and got to start to rattle some wins off. And if you're going to try to make any kind of run at the SEC, you're going to have to go win some road games. Beating a team that's ahead of you in the standings would go a long ways. But we haven't played great against them. We've got to do a better job. Their interior's great, big, strong, physical, skilled. Hoff's one of the best players in the country, as are some of their bigs. I mean, Chinaloo's one of my favorite players in the country. The effort he plays with, his physicality, how hard he goes to the offensive boards, his offensive game he's picked up, and then their guards are starting to play a lot better. It seems like they're getting comfortable in the system. They didn't look maybe like what everybody had thought they'd look in November, but we're almost in February now, and they're a lot different team than what they were in November. So it's going to be a tough game, but I think we're starting to come around too and get healthy. So I think it'll be two of the better teams in the SEC playing on Sunday, which would be a pretty cool thing for everybody.
With Florida's front court being as good as you mentioned, just how much of a luxury is it to be able to play Aiden Sherrill and Charles Bediako together and keep one of them on the floor at all times?
Yeah, I mean, Florida puts two real bigs out there a lot. It's not just their starters. Missouri started two bigs, and it was nice to have Charles and Aiden together to start, but then Florida then brings Logden off the bench. He's one of the best bigs in the league, so they do it. Have two bigs in there a lot more often. Hoff, who's a great four, but he's also a great three, too. He's able to start at the three, bump down, play some four. So it's nice to have those two in, but this is a game where Noah Williamson's probably going to have to play more than against Missouri just because they bring a Logden type off the bench and still keep two bigs in frequently. So, yeah, it's nice to have Charles, Aiden. Noah looked pretty good against Kentucky. We need SEC Noah to come around as well. But at times we're going to have to go with, the smaller, more skilled four like we've had at times, whether it's Taylor, London, Amari, but it's nice having that option where those guys can all play the three and kind of match Hoff a little bit more to where Florida's lineup looks.
You talked after the last game about being 3-3. It was kind of a wake-up call, and it changed the preparation, or maybe guys were a little bit more locked in. Is that something you've seen kind of continue? And is that Mizzou game kind of an example of, okay, when you are locked in, this is kind of the result that can happen with this team?
Yeah, no, I think it's continuing. I think the guys, none of them signed up to be a 500 SEC team when they came to this program. That's not who we've been. Like I said, for the last 3 years, we're averaging 14 SEC wins a year. It's not easy to do, but it takes a lot of work, and I'm just not sure that I did a good enough job explaining to these guys what it's going to take to compete at this level and compete like we've been competing around here. So, I got to look in the mirror and see what I needed to change, and I think the preparation, and it's been a little different with a Tuesday game and Sunday game, so we've had to pick our days off and our days we go all in, and the days that, you want to make sure you're rested by Sunday, but you can't be rusty, if you will. You got to be sharp. So I think video time with the guys has been good. Been doing a little bit of some individual video time, some group video time. We just tried to mix it up rather than just doing whole team all the time. I think sometimes one-on-one or small groups is get a little more feedback, a little bit better. So yeah, we've continued to do that, which is what we'd kind of done going into Missouri, and just trying to do things. Every group's different. We expect to win at a high level around here, but you got to do it a little bit differently with every group and figuring out what works with each player, each team, each group. I think that's an ongoing thing, and that's why coaching's really an art more than it is a science. You got to figure out what each group needs, and I haven't been doing a good enough job of that here recently. So I hope this game looks a lot more like what the Missouri game looked like as far as preparation and guys being locked into the scouting report and all that stuff. And I think it will be.
I know you said you stay off social media, but Coach Golden's kind of talked a little bit of trash about the whole Bediako situation. Have you seen that? Have you heard anything?
I honestly, I don't have Twitter or none of that stuff on my phone. And honestly, the assistants, some of them do for recruiting, and I've kind of just, unless it's something to do with our team that I need to address, just leave it off my plate so I can focus on it. What did he say?
Well, he started off by saying that they're going to beat you guys anyways, regardless if you have Bediako or not. Then he also went back and said he doesn't think you care that he said that you, this is a quote here, he's going to expect to kick our ass too. So
I'm with him. I mean, shoot, they're the defending national champs. They should be planning on beating us. That's how it's supposed to look. I mean, since I've got here, we've got more SEC championships than anybody else in the SEC, and since he's got there, they've got more national championships. And he's done a great job, and we were one of the better programs when he walked in, and we don't have that national championship, and they do. And I would expect nothing less. He should be trying to kick our butt, whether we have Charles or not Charles. So I think Charles helps us in the game. They've got monster lineups up front, but we were planning on having Collins, planning on having Keaton Bristow that both play in the interior. We lost them. I think Charles has a great case for why he should be eligible. I'm in 100% agreement with him and his attorneys on his case. I think we'll let the attorneys and judges decide on a final ruling at some point. But for this game, we've got him, and I think he helps us win. And whether he was going to play, not play, I'm not sure when Todd said that, but I would hope they're planning on beating us. I don't think he's going to walk into a game being the defending national champions planning on taking a loss.
Hey Nate, do you have an update on Keaton Bristow and kind of what his status is?
Yeah, I mean he still hasn't practiced in over 2 weeks, so he'll be out Sunday for sure. And I'm not. It's one of those deals where he played really banged up last year as a freshman, and kind of just sucked it up, fought through it, and I could get into a litany of injuries he probably shouldn't have played through and weren't here. We try not to do that to our guys. I mean, if it's nobody's going to be 100%. We know, like you get into January, February, nobody's 100%. Everybody's going to have some nick, little bruise this. But if it's something that playing on is going to hurt you long term, we're never going to do it. So before we even consider putting him back on the floor, we're going to get him back to as close to 100% as he needs to get. He's been a guy. I don't want him getting any PTSD from having to play through the stuff that he went through last year. He needs to get to 100%, feel great, because his game is, and we're trying to make his game a lot more skill, NBA level, but his game's based on playing hard and with a ton of effort and athleticism and flying around. He just didn't feel like he was nearly as athletic, couldn't play, give us the effort that he's used to giving. And I don't want a guy out there playing that doesn't feel like his body's right and can't play right. So he hasn't practiced since we've kind of decided to shut him down, and still hasn't he's not even going through a basketball workout yet. So he's still a long ways away from being able to play.
Coach, you've lost 4 in a row to Florida with 3 of the 4 they're scoring over 100 points. What makes Florida's offense so challenging, and how can you take this past week's defensive performance into this matchup against Florida?
Yeah, I mean, well, one is, and I'm not sure the 4 in a row. I know was it 2 last year and 2 the year before? Has it been the last 2 years? Is that what it is? Yeah. So the backcourt that they've had was elite. I mean, look at all 3 of those guys in the NBA, and they're really good. I feel like they broke our will a couple times last year. To be honest with you, I was a little disappointed, and some of those guys are back this year, and we're going to make that point. Like, with their physicality inside and their shot making ability with some of those guys on the perimeter, it was a little bit tough cover because you can't. We were getting beat up a little bit inside. Well, you can't help inside when they can make shots at the level they're able to make them at, and then you kind of trust your bigs to be able to do it, and we didn't, and we just think we got a little frustrated. And and the other thing is, they did a great job defensively, and we're trying to get to where we don't have the mentality that our defense is affected by what happens on offense. But the reality is, we had some of that last year. Guys don't make shots. It's difficult for them on offense. And all of a sudden they get frustrated. Next thing you know, the other team goes on a run. So, and we've had some of it this year. It's human nature. You get a little frustrated. We've tried to coach, these guys through it. I think we're getting closer to having a really mentally tough team that, if we go 3, 4, 5 possessions in a row on offense and we miss shots, turn it over, like our defensive effort should not be affected. You should play as hard as you possibly can on every possession on defense, no matter what the score is, no matter whether the offense is on a 10-0 run or whether you haven't scored in the last 5 possessions. And we've got to get there. And I just last night was watching the SEC semifinal, the tournament semifinal game against them, and in the second half, they just kind of broke us. And it's disappointing to watch it. It was a team I was responsible for, and I didn't do a good enough job coaching them and getting them mentally tough enough. And we got to be a lot tougher this year. And hopefully we've come around that way with some mental toughness. I think I told the team this, and Clark Coulter, I think, is one of the best trainers, probably the best trainer in college basketball, gave me a stat after the game. So we use a program called Connexon. Like the guys kind of wear a wearable, and they measures speed, verticality, number of jumps, all this stuff, and they give you a player load every game, and then they give you a player load per minute. So usually the guy that leads the team in player load, somebody that played the most minutes, it should be. But the guy that leads the team in player load per minute would be more like a guy like Houston Millette last year, played short minutes, but just flying all over the place in his 6 to 8 to 10 minutes or whatever. Reitzel led the team in both categories against Missouri. So now he went 7 to 10. Now I think his mentality coming in, let's not focus on offense. Let's just play as hard as we can on the defensive end, and then your offense just flows. I think that's what he had. The question is now, like, what if he goes 1 for 5 to start? Is he able to still give that same effort on defense? That's where we've got to get everybody to. I think Trelly's mentally tough enough and good enough leader that that's where he's going to get. We need to see it. Hopefully he goes 7 to 10 again. But, we got to get everybody to. It doesn't matter whether you go 1 for 10, 7 for 10. You're going to play with max effort on the defensive end on every single possession down there. And if we get there, we'll be a pretty good team. And we're not there yet, but it was a lot closer in the Missouri game.
Yeah, just based off Florida's front court, would you say that this is the toughest test this season in terms of rebounding?
Yeah, they're the best rebounding team in the country. If you go to Ken Palm, they're second in offensive rebounding rate, second in defensive rebounding rate. Nobody else is that high on both sides of the ball. I mean, Chenalou, Hand-Logden, it'd go down Hoff at the 3. They're good. They've got a lot of And Sherrell's proven he can rebound. Didn't rebound it great against Missouri, but he's proven it. Charles can rebound. We need him to do it a little bit better. He hasn't been bad, but I think he's got more in him. I'll tell you the one guy that has been rebounding really well is Taylor. I think Taylor's been an absolute monster with his effort. Now he's a guy that just needs to continue to play as hard as he can and do what he's been doing for about a month now, and then his offensive game will come. And I really hoping it, it comes quick because he deserves to have a great game with his mindset he's had here recently. London can rebound. We need him to do it. If Amari could be back, which, man, I'm hoping he's back because he makes a big difference. When he's out, we're the fact that we can play a guy with size that rebounds like he does at the 3, 2 even, like, allows us to rebound the ball a lot better. Guard rebounds are a big deal, and we got to get guards in there to rebound. I do think some of our other guards are more than capable. LeBaron's proven he can when he puts his mind to it. Reitzel can get some, but Amari's got a little bit bigger size and does it on a consistent basis. So, yeah, they're rebounding. I think paint scoring and rebounding are two of the biggest issues with this team. They can score in the paint at a high level, and they go get a bunch of offensive rebounds. And when you can sit in the lane for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds at a time, helps your offensive rebounding quite a bit.
Hey, Coach, you kind of touched on it. How does Bull Bowen continue to rebound at a high level more consistently?
I think you just got to keep playing as hard as he's playing. And he's an athlete that can get up in the air and go get him above the rim. And he's just got to keep going to the glass. We had to get him his mindset to flip, and it took a while, but it has. And I honestly couldn't be more proud of a guy this year than him because we were on him about his effort, his toughness, his physicality, his rebounding. He's just improved drastically in all those areas, and it's really a mindset change. And to me, it proves that, you recruit guys and you hope that you can coach them to play harder, but he's an example, and there's plenty of them. Like, what are we in this business for if you can't, have improvements? It's life. Everybody needs to get better in certain areas of life, and he needs to get better in those areas in basketball, and it proves that you should give a guy a chance to make a conscious decision to make improvements, and he has, and he's been great. Like, I love coaching Taylor now. He's always been a great kid. We needed to get more effort out of him, and he's giving it. He's a max effort kind of guy that embodies what this program's been about since we've been here, and I just hope he continues to stay healthy and his offensive game follows how hard he's been playing on defense. But, yeah, he just got to keep playing hard, going to the glass, making all the tough plays, making that who he is, and he's done a good job at here this last month.